All right, folks, welcome to another edition of XenTegra's Webinar Wednesdays. My name is Pete Downing. I'm your host today. And today we got a great guest. We haven't had our guest on since July of last year, and we talked about their awesome product, Scoutbees, which we'll be touching upon today. So I'm excited to have my friends from ControlUp on, and we're going to be talking about don't let chaos ruin your day. And I named it that because there was an awesome video I saw on LinkedIn, and I thought it was a great video. So kudos to Barry and team for creating that. And with that, I'm gonna jump to our gallery view, and we're gonna talk to each of our guests and give them a second to introduce themselves. So I'm gonna start with Barry. Barry, a longtime friend, and we've known each other for a long time now, since the old Ardens days. How you doing, Barry? Give yourself a quick intro.
So I'm Barry Flanagan. I lead America sales here at ControlUp. I've been with ControlUp for the last 3 years.
Cool. And you're being modest here. You're a long time industry guy. You've been in the industry how long?
Well, I'm old, so I took my first Citrix class in 19. I worked for Citrix for VMware for 5, and this is my 4th startup. Like, it's nice to find a startup that has a product that people want to buy. So
Nice.
Work is a lot easier when people want to buy your product. So and you do a good job of solving problems. So I really enjoy ControlUp and working with people like you, and of course our next guest, Marcel.
All right, Marcel, longtime friend, and we've known each other a long time as well. But give yourself a quick intro and what you do for ControlUp.
Thank you, Pete. Marcel Calaf. I've been ControlUp 3.5 years. Prior to that, with Citrix for many years, and I'm on the sales engineering team in ControlUp. Glad to be here.
Nice. And then last but not least, JD. JD, give yourself a quick intro and how you doing today? JD, on mute.
Love it. Hey, thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. I'm not going to play mute bingo and say I was on mute. Sorry about that. Does that count? I think I just said it. Hey, so I run partners and alliance with ControlUp. Been with the company now for almost 2 months. But honestly, I've been in the UC space for so long that this is it's a perfect fit. Love the technology and what we're doing and working with guys like you.
Awesome. And recently you were with a great company that got sold to NetApp. Just quick highlight on that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So yeah, obviously we previously was with CloudJumper, working specifically with VMware in the WVD space, orchestration to deploy and manage workspaces. Built that up to over 1,500 partner network, and I was acquired by NetApp middle of last year.
Nice. Well, all right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I'm gonna jump back in and just highlight a couple things before we jump into the demo that Marcel is going to give us. I always get excited when Marcel gives demos because they're always fun and unpredictable. All right, so let's talk through. Today we're using Zoom, and if you have any questions at all, please ask. We got the great Q&A dialogue. If you click on that, you can ask questions. You can also upvote questions, meaning like them or comment above and beyond any questions that are asked, and that way they're not asked twice. And all questions are welcome. Please do. Today's agenda is simple. I go through a quick round of polls just to gather some cool data, and then we jump into the customer or product overview and let Marcel do his thing. If you haven't already, check out webinars.XenTegra.com. We got a lot of great guests in the month of March. Next week, I got my friends from Printer Logic joining me. After that, I got a special guest, Mark Templeton, jumping on for one of my sessions. We're going to be talking about the industry, the history. And, we can go all the way back to the days when I first went on stage. Barry was there at, it was still called iForum, if you can remember that. Remember that, Barry, when we did the Vegas demo? So check out that, events.XenTegra.com. If you got some time tomorrow, I'm doing a 2-hour workshop with my friends at IGIL, doing a conversion overview and workshop. And then next week, we got a lot of great events going on, so check it out. And then finally, podcast.XenTegra.com. We post various podcasts, industry focused on that page. We got a Citrix, VMware, Nutanix, and IGIL one. So definitely check those out. And Andy, our founder and CEO, loves doing them. And then I'm his producer and get them up there. And then finally, yes, all attendees will be getting an Uber Eats voucher today. If Megan reaches out, who's behind the scenes, hi Megan, and if she reaches out asking for business email, there's a reason. We got to know you are who you say you are, and that you're not a partner or someone we could potentially compete with. All right, last month I had a great giveaway. We had the PlayStation 5, a bunch of t-shirt packs, and a XenTegra hat. I'm gonna pull a little fast one on you. I haven't had a chance to do the drawing yet, so I'm gonna announce the winners next week. So you got to come next week to see if you won the PlayStation 5. But this month I switched it up a little bit. And I should say March, but this month I'm going to give away an Intel Nook. I'm feeling like you guys need to enhance your home labs a little bit. So that will be the giveaway. And I had the model number in the email sent out, and I'll give some cool swag. And you can see I got this cool ControlUp shirt on. I got a couple of those laying around that I'll send out to some attendees as well. We'll talk about this later. Bronco.XenTegra.com, how you can get involved. And actually, ControlUp is a little bit involved with this behind the scenes, and I'll explain how later on. All right, let's have some fun and do some polls, get the audience warmed up and involved. So the first polls, just easy ones. I'm going to launch them, and I'll let you guys read through them. But the first one is, hey, is this your first event / webinar / workshop with XenTegra? The second one is I am, and just fill in your best role possible. And then finally, are you a ControlUp customer? We just want to know. And just as you're answering these, please note that we do not capture any information that can be displayed on the screen, your username, etc. Others can't see your information, so no worries, it's all anonymous.
Hey Pete, is this like the radio stations? Because I'm an employee of the organization, I can't submit or get drawn for the Bronco in particular. I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, unfortunately partners can't win, but if you know someone in IT that can submit one, maybe they get in the drawing,
I just asking for a friend, that's all.
Yeah. All right, last call for clicks on this one. This just gets us warmed up. A lot of ControlUp customers out there, thank you. Great solution, we love it here at XenTegra. And we got a lot of no's, so we're going to tell you more, I promise you that. So last call for clicks, going once, twice, and 3 times. All right, so a lot of no's for webinars, so pretty good. Welcome. We do these every week at 2 o'clock. And for those who are returning, thank you for coming back week over week. That must mean you like the content. Again, I do the survey at the end. I do actually read the survey. You got a lot of day-to-day admin, so we're going to keep this technical, and we're in good hands with Marcel. I promise you that. And then finally, no, tell me more. We're going to tell you more. I promise you that. So, all right, next, let's talk about EUC information. So I got a lot of good questions in here. What EUC product do you primarily use today? All right, so I know you might use more than one. Pick your primary. Pick your primary hypervisor. And then finally, talk about your login, your what pain points, and try to stick to 3. I don't know if Zoom allows you to pick all of them, but pick the top 3 that you see. And let that be multi. And then I put this question back from when Marcel and I did our session last year. What collaboration tool, when you use it, how are you running it? Are you running it inside the VDI session or locally? And I threw this in just because we had a little fun with it last year, Marcel. Remember that?
We did.
Yeah. All right. So final call for clicks. Give it a couple more seconds. Get your clicks in. I love
you're getting me to do things in real time that I wasn't prepared, but okay.
No, you don't have to do that.
It's all good. All good. All good.
Almost neck and neck. I'm kind of surprised. So, all right, last call.
Real time is our specialty, man.
Yeah. All right, last call for clicks. Go once, twice, and ending the poll. So someone made a comment. I do Zoom inside the VDI, but I offload it. Yes, that does work very beautifully. I'll say that. I got a couple customers doing that. And so I'll scroll down since I'm talking about that one, but neck and neck, we got some folks that run it inside the session and a lot of folks who run it locally. I'll say this, if your VDI session is set up correctly and you do the install properly, it works beautifully, especially with Citrix. So I'll keep scrolling up here. A lot of results all over the place. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to share you guys 2 links, and I'll put them in over the period of the session today. If you can click on those 2 links and take those 2 polls for Barry, he's capturing more detailed data. So please take a minute to click on those for Barry and team. But all over the map here, Barry, with these pain points. There's a lot of pain points with EUC. And then
it is interesting. There are quite a few different problems that people run into.
Yeah, and then finally, let's see, ESX. We always expect the XX to be on the top of the pile, but Nutanix keeps growing week over week, depending on the audience. And then Citrix is always king of the heap here. But I'm seeing a lot more WVD week over week, so pretty cool. All right, last round of polls, just more industry stuff. This helps out Marcel and team again. Azure AD, how are you set up? Are you doing cloud only? Or are you doing a hybrid identity? Enterprise. My enterprise is evaluating an infrastructure as a service, compute service today. So if you're pick your primary, I know you could be doing more than one, but are you doing Azure? Are you doing AWS primarily? What's your model for Office 365, or better known as M365 now? And then finally, your remote worker strategy. What is it looking like for the foreseeable future? And then we'll close out with a thin device question. And one of my favorite integrations is the Agile integration with ControlUp. So those who are ControlUp customers, they do have their agent built right into the Agile thin client. So great integration, and kudos to Marcel and the team for getting that done. It was last year, right, Marcel?
Yes, we had it ready for the beginning of the year, and it's fully integrated today on our 8.2. And if you're using 11.04 Agile, there's actually 0 touch needed, right? Just configure it, just add it, and it will all display.
Cool. All right, last call for clicks, going once, twice, and last call. Get your clicks in. All right, so we got a lot of hybrid identity. I've seen that. If you're not doing hybrid identity, you got to start looking at Azure AD and how it ties into your on-premises Active Directory. Azure always is king of the pile here, but I'm still seeing a lot of AWS. Google Cloud keeps making some waves. It's gonna be interesting to see what Google does this year. And then as far as Exchange on premises, still seeing a lot of that. And I'll say this: if you do not know what Fast Track is, please reach out. We can educate you on the value of that and what it is. And then I'm seeing remote work be all over the map now. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the second half of this year unfolds, and hopefully we can get back to some sense of normalcy. And still not a lot of thin devices in production. We got to change that, Marcel. What do you think? So, all right. So those are my polls for the day today. And if you're already so if you're not following ControlUp or XenTegra on social media, please do. We try to put meaningful content up on our various social channels, everything from YouTube, etc. Barry and team have been doing some great videos. If you're not following on LinkedIn, it's definitely worth it. There's one of my favorite was the BDI KDOS video. So kudos to the team that did that. All right, I'm going to pass the baton over to Marcel and team. So Marcel, if you want to take controls and do your thing, and I'll sit here and keep an eye out for question and answer, and I may throw a couple questions in.
Perfect. So yeah, there's a question about the virtual meetings. I unfortunately can't or not ready to do a demo on that right now, but we'll see. I'll try my best after I run through the stuff I know that works. So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
I think it was over half the people have never seen ControlUp, so I definitely want to walk through some of the things that our customers love about the product. First thing is ControlUp is real time. We update the console really fast. This console that you're looking at is updating every 7 to 9 seconds, but we can update up to every 3 seconds. You have complete visibility into the environment, and you can actually look into the whole environment, focus, for example, on your resource consumption and identify if there's any bottlenecks. I can look at my hypervisor host, see that there's several hypervisors on medium stress, drill into that. I'm looking at my hypervisor host. This is real time, by the way. I can see here my host 2 is having some stress issues. I can identify that it's data store read-write IOPS. Drill into that hypervisor host, and now I'm going to look at the machines within that hypervisor host. and identify that this tool's VM is the machine where that's happening, multiple metrics indicating this is definitely the place where that is happening, and drill down to the users. Now I'm down to the users on that machine, identify that user that's doing that, and now I'm down to the process that that user is running on that machine. And I can see here that Dynamo is the process that is doing this. Oh, in a couple of clicks, I went from a problem on my hypervisor down to which VM is this coming from, which session, and I'm down to the process list on that session, and I can identify the process. So really fast to identify and pinpoint where the root cause of your problems are. And one thing, anybody that has seen our demo previously is, we do have on our product the ability to take actions. For that, we need to go to the full console. And again, let me just walk through that same example here. By the way, here data is updated every 3 seconds. So you got both options now with our Solve and our real-time application console. Control to the machines. Again, that's the hypervisor host. This is the machine. Identify the issue or that this is the machine. Drill to the users. Identify the user. Get down to the processes. Same thing we did. And in the full-blown console, once I identify that, I can even take action.
Nice.
So this is really nice.
So yeah, so Marcel, someone did ask. I mean, you know, and you want fast, but they said, hey, is that a web console? So can you kind of highlight? You're in the traditional,
Sure.
I'll call it the traditional console right now, but you guys have this thing what you're calling Solve, right? And that's going to be the new console in the future, correct?
Correct. So one of the things that we did is we wanted to, we've had this has been the soul of our product since day one. I think it's even 7 years old. Some people say it looks dated. There's a lot of things that kind of reflect that, but it's amazing on its performance. And what we're doing is we're replicating that into a web browser. The current release has all that ability to drill down, plus the topology maps, plus the widgets with the aggregated data. What it doesn't have today is that ability to take action. Again, V1, we're working on getting that, and I think the target is for this year. I don't want to commit on anything, but it's definitely on our roadmap to get that.
If I could just add, Pete, it's more than just a web console. So this will be able to iterate, continually revise it, and you won't have to wait for product updates. So doing this in the cloud is pretty amazing. No one else does real-time data collection the way we do. We collect data 20 to 100 times more frequently than other UC monitoring tools. And now we're doing the console itself in the cloud as well.
Yep. And one of the things that we're doing here, again, this is not a snapshot. This is live. It updates every 7 to 9 seconds, depending on the environment. I think we're pushing the limit there. If you think about it, 3 seconds was amazing. We wish we could get to that, but I don't think we're going to push it that far, or at least not. It's not a goal right now to get to that 3 seconds, but even 7 seconds is pretty darn fast. If you're seeing something here, it's happening right now. And not only that, you could use this also to troubleshoot historically. So if I know that my SQL admin reported some issues last night, I can find that machine, identify that there's no issue right now, but I might want to go and everything seems fine. Let's go back out. And I want to drill again. Let's find that SQL machine. And I can drill into the historical reports directly from here and identify that, yes, at 3 a.m. there was a spike. I can go back and look at a 3-day view and identify that that's a recurrent issue in that machine. And then I could even go to a whole month view or go into insights where I can actually drill in and out and identify historically what processes were spiking on this. So this is one of the main use case we see our customers troubleshoot resource consumption on their environments. Let's take it back to our dashboard, the status dashboard, and instead of focusing on resources, switch it to user experience. And here we could see, for example, the stress level, the number of running processes, active user sessions, logon duration, so on and so forth. Again, updated in real time. Logon durations, James, Jim, different people had different user experience. So let's grab James and Jim. If I look at James, I can drill into his his session. I think he's still logged in. Looks like he is. I can see the machine where he's in. Where's the, oh, there it is, James, right? The logon duration, 95 seconds, 82 seconds for Jim. Let's go into James' session. I can identify the machine where he's in. Okay, and we do have that breakdown that, you know, on the main buckets for the logon duration, but we can even automate a deep troubleshooting. And that's one of the things, again, I can show it to you on the traditional console, but on Solve, we've taken it a step above, where if I automated a breakdown of this into all the possible variations of logon complications, I can go back to my audit log, again, in Solve. And in Solve, I can look for that machine, the result of that logon analysis. I know it executed on James. Oops, what did I just click? Yep. Click back. And let's go to the looks for J machine, executing computer. I think it was instant clone 04. Identify, he's analyzed logon duration. Here's the result of that execution. And remember 95 seconds. Here we can see the breakdown. That's the total duration. I can see that group policy impacted him 37 seconds. The app volumes 22. Then there was app X, the universal apps breakdown. Logon task, I can get a breakdown on the GPOs that affected him, and I can pinpoint that. Oh, the typical one, drive mapping, took 32 seconds. And then for app volumes, I can even get a breakdown of the different app volumes that got inserted into that. So this, by the way, was an instant clone that his applications got loaded upon login. So really nice. Again, you've probably, if you've seen this before, you've seen it done on the real-time console. Let me just show you that because it's, you know.
So since you're going back into the real-time console.
Oh, I'm going back and forth because.
Yeah, but here it's like there's a good question that actually came up from Lee.
Okay.
I imagine that when you set up, so you see I have these great folders here. And so if you look under like your infrastructure folder, your VDI and SBC, etc., do those folders translate into the web console?
So what we've done is we've discovered that every admin likes to manage things differently. They might want to have their folder structure from vCenter translated into ControlUp. They might want to have their folder structure based on their delivery groups, or maybe on AD structure. So we have sync scripts which you can grab from our support pages and automate the execution so that whatever gets added or removed in any one of those sources gets synchronized, added on, removed in ControlUp. I would discourage you from trying to sync all of them at the same time, because you might end up adding and removing machines with one script and the other one interfere with it. So choose your horse if you want to sync it. And that could be your Horizon, your delivery groups from Citrix, your folder structure from vCenter, or from Active Directory. So cool. Definitely you can sync it automatically or create it yourself and have it whichever way you want. This, in our case, it mimics our AD structure.
Cool. All right. Great questions, audience. Keep them coming in the Q&A dialogue. Marcel and I love good questions. So.
Okay. So everything that we've seen so far, it's all available today. I had a surprise. I was working on something that, just Pete, I don't think I'm going to be able to show it, or I'll show an empty grid in a second. I do want to go back to Solve and talk about some of the other things that we've integrated into Solve. So you got the health status, the drill down abilities. We also have the ability to switch to our synthetic monitoring in a console. And this is a really nice addition to the ControlUp platform that enables you to monitor the health of your full end-to-end end user computing platform. So whether it is that you want to test your NetScaler or portal for Office, right? You have the ability here to establish a test, and let's go and do an end user computing test. So this one is testing one of our production desktops. This is our NetScaler. This is our logon bot, and I can drill into that. And I can see, first of all, that the availability over the last 24 hours has been 100%. I can see the differences in the logon duration in that period of time, and even drill into the specific of those tests and get a breakdown of what machine did I connect to, what was the RTT time or the latency on that session, and even get a screenshot of what that session looked like. So again, this is, we call it Scoutbees. The functionality you see here can also be known as Logan Simulator. So it's simulating, this is doing a synthetic transaction from a Hive, which is a launcher. And I'll talk about that in a second. That launcher will go to the address that you give it, view, NetScaler, even your storefront. You can go to any of those. It'll validate logon credentials that you provide. It'll search for the resource that you're looking for. We'll launch it, time the whole logon duration, and then give you what was the total response and to get a logon into that. And then give you what was your success rate and allow you to also alert if you need to. And this is really nice that, again, as you add your alert, you can even do straight out webhooks and go to an endpoint and authentication, custom headers, custom fields, whatever you need to add, this will suffice to get those alerting. And you can add different conditions also based on the time it took to complete a session ready. Now, I mentioned the hives. So when we talk about those hives, could be hives on the cloud. So we do provide you launchers in the different geos. So you can launch a test to your NetScaler or your UAG directly from the cloud, but you can also configure your own internal hive. Now for Scoutbees, the only portion that requires you to set up any infrastructure is if you desire to use a custom hive. And the nice thing about a custom hive is that you could use the cloud hives to test your NetScaler or UAG availability, and then use a custom hive to test your individual storefronts and have each one of your storefront 1, 2, 3 tested individually, or even with different access schemes. You'll put your storefront, your username and password, and this will even go and get the resources for that user on that storefront and give you the list of the resource that user can launch. And then you'll set how often do you want to run it, and there it is. I can select again XenTegra 5. That's all of the resources available on my storefront, and then the alert policy if I want to, and how often to test that. So if this is a business critical application, I might want to test availability every 5 minutes. If this is something that I just need to ensure that it's up and once a day is enough, or maybe just to check that out after my 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Reboots, there's still availability.
So Marcel, we have a question asking, can you take automated actions based on detected situations? And I'm assuming this is from Scoutbees. You want to cover how you could monitor them and control up and do that?
Yes. So, they work in tandem. At the end of the day, if you're launching a session from Scoutbees, that resource will be something that you're monitoring already in your sessions. So you'll have it here on your delivery groups, right? You'll find delivery groups, and you can actually find that happened there, and then automate a response. And the responses would be either sending out, executing an action line, logging off a user, or here we have one interesting one that one of the things is in some of the testing we're doing, we need to inject into each session. So regardless of who the user is, we're injecting the credentials for some of our demo scenarios. So that is happening every time one of our employee logs in, it injects the credentials. I can see the result. In this case, it did add the credentials, the tenant ID, the information that I need for our demos gets injected. There's also some others that if the user goes from active to idle, it'll change the the allocation of the processes, right? So it'll change how a VM will respond, high, medium, or low priority with respect to other resources, if the user is active or not.
Right, Marcel, we have a couple additional questions. One is Scoutbees a separate product that you need to buy? You want to cover that real quick?
And Barry, hold off answering the trial question. I'll twine that into my follow-up.
So with regards to the products, as you can see, everything we've shown today, the real-time console, the automated actions, Scoutbees, they're all portions and building blocks for monitoring your EUC or VDI environments. You could purchase them independently, but we do have our ultimate version that includes both the real-time console solve, Scoutbees, and automated actions. So you can Scoutbees can be purchased separately. Most of our VDI and EUC customers will purchase it as part of that ultimate version of our product. And why would you purchase Scoutbees if you're not using EUC or VDI? So let me just touch that in a second. Again, not our main use case, but it is a nice addition. If we can test a NetScaler storefront UAG, we definitely can test your login to your office.com or a login, verify the availability of your SQL server. And you can see how simple it is to set a test for TCP port 1433, testing every 5. I think this is doing it every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes testing the availability of my SQL server. So that again is it's available and it can be purchased as part of the ultimate license of ControlUp.
And I would add, on the near-term roadmap for Scoutbees, Marcel, you might want to explain. You can check all the required ports. They're already pre-built in, and also we're going to be able to completely record an entire session and play that synthetically.
Yeah. So on what Barry was mentioning, as you can see here, the session is run, and it's not just it is synthetic. It's running as a service, so it doesn't block the PC. If you decide to use a custom Hive, it's not blocking the PC. There is a session, and that session is graphically monitored. We are going to add the ability for you to record what do you want the clicks to be on that session. So if you wanted to not just launch this, but verify that the Word icon was there and launch it, and get Word to launch and open, you will be able to record that. So we're going to take it a step further and allow you to do some actions inside of that session and verify that those actions happened within the session. So this is really going to be exciting. Again, that's yet to come, but what you're seeing today up to recording the timing of the launching of the sessions, the experience that had, including the screenshot, that's all available today.
So there's an interesting question here, and I don't know who asked it because it came in anonymously, but I'm guessing they're asking about the data center infrastructure on the cloud side. So does the data center infrastructure architecture meet the requirements of standard and norms, and does the services comply with standard and norm? I'm guessing, the various certifications like HIPAA, SOX, FedRAMP, etc.
So our product is most of our customers are consuming it in our hybrid cloud scenario. We do have our SOX 2, SOX 3 certification. There is a page in ControlUp for this dedicated to the security questions. We're more than happy to share that link with everybody on the call. And again, not the end of the road on a security conversation, but the beginning. And we do find that having that starting location offered to the security team within a customer helps a lot, because it shows we know what we're doing. We are aware that there are security concerns, and again, not the end of the road on a security conversation, but more of a starting point.
Well, I'm going to post that link right now for folks.
Do you have it? Thank you.
Yep. And Marcel, I got to say, when I saw Scoutbees in July of last year, it's come a long way. So kudos to you guys. I'm impressed. So.
And Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, this is all good. I'm sorry, I have my head. I wanted to show something else, but it's not fully baked and it is acting up on me. So the demigods are not with me on that next part that I wanted to show. I could show an empty grid, but I don't think it will make the impact.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
I know you got a preview of it earlier before the call, but
Yeah.
I'm going to have to skip because.
All right. Hey, so Marcel, so let's comment really quickly to you guys had the recent release, which now supports Citrix Cloud officially, right? And then parallel to that, you guys acquired a small company. Can you guys kind of talk about that and what that means for ControlUp?
Definitely. So again, they'll just I'll take a segue and just explain. One of the things on any VDI environment is yes, everything we're doing here on the data center is amazing, and then from the user experience, we get a peek into what's happening at the customer site. So we do have some metrics that are available from the different vendors as far as the latency average and the bandwidth consumption, but we're always getting asked more about these. How does it break up and what is happening with the user client device? So we are working on a BYO friendly solution to integrate with BYO devices for VDI environments. And unfortunately, I won't be able to show that, but the technology you're speaking about is a full-blown management solution for your laptops and MacBooks. So this solution works great for anything attached with a network wire in the data center. Because of the way we're collecting data, it is extremely efficient in the data center. With your Windows laptops and MacBooks, you want something that the device itself will push the data out. So the platform we acquired does exactly this. It's very similar. It's kind of you have all the different functionalities you have here, but it does it from the client device, Microsoft Windows laptops or Apple Mac OS, MacBooks of sort, and even thin clients, and it can gather the data on those different devices, and each device will push the data directly to our platform in the cloud. So cool. Different architecture, but it allows you to do the same thing, monitor the CPU, the memory, the IO, the running processes on a device. We did add the Wi-Fi and network latency specifically from that device to the cloud so that you can get an idea of what is the health of those devices. And you can actually drill into those devices and identify any issues. So let's try to see anybody that has high CPU usage. And there it is. Something is happening on that jump server. Let's log into it. It's in Bilbao. I can see where it is. I can see, yep, CPU has been running hot for quite a bit. There's some CPU queue length, memory usage, network. So a lot of visibility into that. I can drill into the active processes on that. And if you remember, this is as real time as you can when the client is sending the data. So the nice thing here is there's no VPN. Let's just go back here for a second. That device is, well, that one is on a domain, but it doesn't have to be on a domain. We can pull data from anywhere and gather it here, identify the processes, the install applications, any patches missing, and then report on all of that as well. Plus, send actions to that machine.
Awesome. And, so I can't wait to see this more once it goes live. But so what I'm seeing here is, hey, I'm a remote worker. I might be working on a machine that's not owned by the enterprise, and you need to troubleshoot issues with it. So
it's a work group machine, right? And again, not sure why it's not loading. I might have to wait for a couple seconds. I don't know if we have a filter applied, but it'll list me the install applications, and you can see this again. Typical device, a very old device, WinZip, just the Logitech, the browser, nothing really installed on it. But go to patches, you can see that it's not fully patched. I can also see what are some of the events that have run on that device, and I can even request actions. So maybe I need to check if there are any SSL certificates that is expiring on that machine. I'll send the action. I always take a second and say, I'm actually not sending anything. I'm just putting an action on the queue. And when that device checks in, it will actually pick the action executed and send the results, because I'd have no way to send something to that machine. Remember, this is a laptop, and we send that, and I already got it. So it took about, what is it, 20, 30 seconds to get a reply, but there's no VPN, no hands mom, right? How they say, a really nice a solution complementing, and of course the reporting capabilities, where I can go and look at what are the logons and sessions on those devices, and identify by logon duration, right? Again, same. Yeah, that's just, where's the sort by? There it is. Identify a logon on a PC, right? What took it too long? I can go into a logon detail and get the details, just like we've been doing forever on ControlUp. But this is happening on a device that, by the way, different than what the way ControlUp works. This is, even if the device is not connected, it will store the data and then send it to the platform when the device has connectivity.
That's pretty cool. So, so a lot of good questions coming in. I'll start with a good one. So someone tried to set up trial of Scoutbees last year and had issues with Azure AD connection. Has that been resolved?
My understanding is yes. So the only it might have been an issue with the multi-factor or the two-factor authentication. My understanding that is already resolved for Citrix. For Citrix connections, yes.
All right. All right. And then another question that is kind of expected, but any plan to integrate this with ServiceNow?
So I can actually show you that you could take ControlUp today, right? And the same way that when I went here and I showed you the result of my audit log, when a user had a logon duration that was outside of the norm, and I think that was session, what was it? And the object, I can find it here. So if I find that execution of a logon duration script, and I ran it and I got the details here, right? Obviously, I can automate that and push it into ServiceNow. So this is an example. I can find, I don't know where it's going to be, but it's one of these logon duration tickets where I have the breakdown, the ticket, and gosh, tell me it didn't time out on me. It didn't. Perfect. And I can get the breakdown pushed into a ServiceNow ticket.
Awesome. So early integration and more to come, I'm going to guess, because there's a lot you can do with ServiceNow. And Barry, by the way, if you guys need help developing dashboards, let us know. We got a great team. So little plug for us. All right. So here's another question. And the question came in, so I don't know what this means, but can this detect external actions on a Citrix host, like local antivirus or network scans?
So the way that we would detect it, again, I think I showed an example of that, was with our SQL. So you could set an alert. Again, if here's historical. So yes, something is happening on this server, right? My SQL is getting hit every night from 2 to 3. Boom. Okay. Antivirus execution, right? That, if I had a trigger to say, let me know if any machine is above 50% for more than 10 minutes, that would trigger, because that thing is definitely hitting it for almost over an hour, I believe it's what it said, right? It's over an hour of CPU. So we could find this out, and again, it happens in every POC we do, right? We'll run it, we'll look at the environment overall, and maybe I can actually show an example. We'll see this, and we can drill all the way down to identify from, we saw it in the environment, which hypervisor is it happening, which machine, and then get the process that is actually doing it. So I think it can, and again, we're not a security software, but we definitely can help identify things that could be security related.
Cool. All right, fun question, and I know you have an answer. So in what cloud is the data stored that is sent to ControlUp? And then is all the data in the platform, is it all in the cloud basically is what the attendee's asking?
Yes. So, all of our backend is on the cloud. For the US, we use AWS, East Virginia, North Virginia. Gosh, I can't remember which one Virginia, but in North Virginia. We are setting up for our European customers their data in Frankfurt.
And I will add for Avacee, Azure for the cloud storage of the data.
That's for the client.
So we'll have a instance that you have to run locally. You want to cover that, Marcel?
I could not understand what you want me to cover. I could not hear what you wanted to cover, Barry. You're cutting out very bad.
He wants to know if there's anything that has to run locally. Talk about the monitors and the data collector.
Yep. So again, let's just get back into context. We're looking at the ControlUp main product. Let me show you an architectural slide. The console where you do the configuration and the setup, it's an executable. You download it from our website. You do deploy a data aggregator or a set of, they're called a ControlUp monitor. They can be clustered or they cluster themselves. You don't need to set up any type of clustering. You give it two in each data center, however you want to architect that, and they'll create in-run databases and elect a master among themselves and collect the data from all your environments. So you need to set up a monitor cluster. In a POC, one machine is enough, usually depending on the side of the environment and the number of data centers that you want to collect individually, that number of machines will grow. But in a POC, one machine is enough. You could deploy that there. And we do use the API at the platform levels, the hypervisors, the Citrix or VMware a EUC platform, and that Scalar Gateway, all of that is collected through API. And then we use a lightweight agent that runs on the EUC sessions to capture about 80% of the data you saw throughout the demo is coming directly from the VDAs or VDIs and Windows Virtual Desktop. And then the monitor is the one that pushes the data both to the web console, the real-time web console, and for the historical data.
Yeah, it's Marcel, if you were to put a loose time it takes to get this up and running, I would argue it's less than an hour. What would you say?
So when we work with a prospect that has the admin has the permissions and has the machine ready, we're actually up and running in 15-20 minutes. Yep. We usually schedule an hour to be able to do some customization and answering specifics that the customer might see. I find it it's funny that after 10 to 15 minutes and the customer starts seeing the data flowing into the console, it's hard to keep them setting up things because they're already finding things that they want to address, and kind of reel them into the conversation. Let's get there. There's more, but wait, there's more, right? Because they're already into it, and can we resolve this? And the visibility that they're getting within the first 10 to 15 minutes is just amazing, and it's really, really simple.
Yeah, so that kind of plays into this a question that was asked, and I love this question, and we can all answer it in different ways. But if you were stuck in an elevator with me, and I said, "Hey, so what does ControlUp do? So what is the actual value of ControlUp?" And that's the general question here. I'm paraphrasing Srinivas.
Yeah, I would say it's a platform that enables you to quickly identify and resolve issues in your end user computing environment, and that includes everything from the hypervisor to the VMs, the user sessions, and the processes. Yeah,
and I'll say this too. It's
and if I could add.
Yeah, go ahead, Barry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just say, we get this question a lot, and a lot of times what people are asking is, how is it different from, other tools? And, there's really 5 things and we've covered some of these through. Number one, it's real time. Most tools are historical data reporting. We collect data 20 to 100 times more frequently. So we capture the peaks and valleys that other tools miss. We have guided troubleshooting with our virtual expert. Other tools, you run a report and it's up to you to figure out what to do. And then we have 3 ways to take action. We have actions that are built in. We have the script actions, and we have over 300 of those that greatly expand what you can do with the product. And then automated actions, which allows you to automatically resolve recurring issues. Most tools are just monitoring. They don't let you fix anything. And ControlUp is more than monitoring. ControlUp is troubleshooting and remediation.
Yeah, and I just want to say one word: simple. You know, we live in a world where we just got to solve the problem and get it done quickly, and that's what ControlUp enables you to do. Is I jokingly say follow the red, and you did that at the beginning of the demo, right? And
Yep.
and you look at some of your counter products out there. You know, they're very complex. They got multiple consoles. You got to dig deep just to get the data you need to get. You guys have made it very simple to manage and maintain an end user compute environment. So that's my takeaway here. All right. So I got 2 more questions and we got to kind of come to a close, and I'll answer the trial question, but you know, great question from Kevin. Is Solve included with our existing ControlUp on-prem licensing or cloud? And is this for, you know, on-prem customers or cloud only, the Solve console?
So Solve is included. What we did is Solve, automated actions, and Scoutbees are all available as add-ons if you want for your Control Platinum license, or you could purchase the ControlUp Ultimate license that includes everything Platinum has plus all 3 of them. Now, as of cloud and on-prem, ControlUp can monitor, so the software as a service or hybrid cloud version of ControlUp can monitor both on-prem, Citrix and Horizon, and cloud environments. That one usually gets things faster. Barry was alluding to the fact that this console that you're seeing here, right, it's cloud. It if we discover that we need to provide a new recommendation or something, it can be updated on the fly without anything that you need to do to get that new information. We are going to be providing our Solve interface for on-prem, I believe in Q2, and
Cool.
It looks like I stopped sharing.
Yeah, I took controls back so we can close, but yeah, so audience, any more questions, please get them in the Q&A, because guess what, they get recorded and we can always follow up if we can't answer the question live. So definitely we'll be following up. I'll end cap with one final question, Marcel. Maybe you got a good doc you can send over to the anonymous attendee. What type of bandwidth consumption do you generally see capturing all the data to the cloud?
It's almost nothing. I can tell you, with 200 machines, I send 50 megs a day.
Nice. All right, cool. So Rogero, I'm gonna get to your question in a second around trialing, but last call for questions. Get them in on our Q&A dialogue, because they get recorded. But really quickly, who is XenTegra? Well, XenTegra is a great partner of ControlUp, but also we focus heavily on enabling our customer base to get more out of what they've purchased. And Andy, our founder and CEO, founded XenTegra after, you know, he and we both worked at Citrix for a period of time, and we realized that we could be a better partner. And really what we do is we focus on solutions, and we lead with a solution. So you come to me and say, hey, Pete, I'm trying to enable remote work. How do I do that? And instead of focusing just on products, we build a solution that meets your needs. So we have a great bench of consultants. And yes, I can sell you ControlUp, I can sell you Citrix, I can sell you VMware, et cetera. But really, let's face it, and ControlUp plays very nicely into this mantra. Our goal as IT professionals is to enable our end users to be successful. And let's face it, if they're running around the hallways saying, you know, Citrix fill in the blank, or calling the help desk saying, I hate VMware, then yeah, the solution isn't successful. So we got to make sure our end users are successful, especially in this day and age where remote work is very prevalent, and users are getting much more say in what IT does day in and day out. So ControlUp is a great partner of XenTegra's. We love ControlUp. We've been a partner for a long time, and we do sell the solution as well as implement it. But there's one other thing you can do that plays into the trial question. So check out partners.XenTegra.com for all our great partners. yes, we are giving away a Ford Bronco this year. And there's a couple ways you can get into this drawing, and ControlUp is actually indirectly involved. So the first way is if you set up a meeting to talk about our Citrix managed services with our MSP team. Believe it or not, we use ControlUp to monitor and manage our Citrix environment. And we also use Scoutbees now. So we're big Scoutbees users. So if you're interested in learning more about the managed services, please, set up some time with us, and that will get you into the drawing. But here is the great way you can get not only get a demo and POC of ControlUp, but get some good anecdotes on what you can do better with your end user compute environment. We offer free micro assessments, and part of those assessments, we come in and we say, hey, we're going to layer in ControlUp, and we'll get actual data to help you make good decisions. So we can do a Citrix assessment, we can do a VMware EUC assessment, or VMware architectural assessment as well. We do networking assessments, and then finally a Microsoft based assessment, whether licensing or M365 assessment. So we have various assessments that will help you navigate your end user compute environment. The best part about these is they're free, and they are a great way to get to know how XenTegra works and what we do and why we do it. So yes, we will follow up, and we will, if you want to dig deeper, get a deeper demo, we can set that up. Usually it's Marcel or a couple other SEs that will come on and help us get it set up. And Marcel's the line. It literally takes about 15 minutes to get it up and running. And then you spend a lot of time asking questions on how to do this and how to capture that. At least I did when I first got the demo. And we will be following up. So if you have any questions at all, please ask. And if you have any questions about how you get some of the features you saw today that you might not have as a customer, let us know. We can help enable that as well. So I'm going to stop my share for a second and jump back into our gallery view here and ask the speakers really quickly. So Marcel, any final thoughts you want to leave our audience with today?
I think you said it. It is something easy to try. I tell everybody, even on the POC, you'll get value out of ControlUp. So you'll put time in getting data and getting your data and understanding your environment, not in setting up something for hours and hours and hours, but using it and getting value. And hopefully we'll see you as customers.
Nice. And Barry, any final thoughts you want to leave our audience with? Did we lose Barry?
I had to unmute myself. So I appreciate everyone taking the time today. We're happy to help you. You can reach out to us at sales@controlup.com. Of course, the XenTegra guys do a great job with their micro assessments. They have a lot of experience with ControlUp. They can help you get set up with a trial, and they do a really great job. And we have many customers through XenTegra, and we work very closely with Pete and Andy and the team.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry. And JD, any final thoughts today?
I think all these guys summed it up really well. Pete, thanks a lot for having us. This has been a really good conversation, and I've enjoyed it. Anyone who's interested in this, second Barry's info on the micro assessments, those are great value from XenTegra. And even within the POC, as Marcel said, you'll get value out of the ControlUp just from the insights that you get on the data. So appreciate it.
Nice. Yeah, thank you, ControlUp team, for joining me today. Thank you to all of my audience for joining me today. And if you're returning, thank you for always coming back in week over week. And for those who are new to this week, we do this every Wednesday at 2:00, unless I get a guest who needs to shift their time, which I will have next month because I got a friend joining me from Europe, and I'll divulge that later on in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you, and I hope to see y'all next week. And as I always say, see